Thank you, Jordan. Good morning. And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Clemson on this fine, soggy morning that we have. My name is Karen Hebel. I am the Director of Lifespan Faith Formation, and I will be one of your worship associates this morning. Here at UUFC, we welcome all those who come seeking a spiritual home among us, whether this is your 100th time here or your first. If you happen to be a first-time visitor, we would love to get to know you. If you are here in person, please visit our welcome table right outside the sanctuary and stay for conversation and service after the service during our social hour in the room at the other end of the hall. If you are at home and viewing us online, we would be happy for you to receive our newsletter so that you can learn more about us. You can find us at uufc.org. We are grateful for those involved in our service today. Joe Harris, our usher, Corey Dodgens, our pianist, myself and Elaine Faithful as our worship associate. Shouldn't have put my name in there. Our new audiovisual operators, Nelson Addison and Ben Vergitz, join us in training today in the back with Del Kimbler. And our minister, of course, the Reverend Christina Branum-Martin, joins us in the pulpit this morning. It is a special pleasure to welcome visitors to our church. If any visitors who are with us would like to introduce themselves at this time, we invite you to do so. And please know that if you choose not to, we still look forward to speaking with you after the service. All right. I have a few announcements for you this morning. On Friday, March 17th at 5:45, we will have a potluck and the viewing of our next movie with a message. This time we will be watching the movie Descendant. Some other upcoming events include a workshop as a follow-up for last week's worship service, Depolarizing Within from Braver Angels, led by our own Del Kimbler. It will begin at 10 o'clock on April the 1st, not noon, 10 o'clock. On March 25th, there will be a women's retreat here at UUFC. If you are interested, please register soon. You can find more information on the table in the social room at the other end of the hall. Please see the other announcements on the back of your order of service. Now, I invite you to take a moment to greet the people around you. All right, now that everybody's sitting down again, please rise in mind, body, or spirit for our first hymn, number 389, Gathered Here. You will also find the lyrics up on the screen. Our opening words this morning are from the Reverend Monica Jacobson Tennyson. What is it that calls you here, that calls you onward, that calls you inward, that leads you homeward? What is it that gives you the power to make that change, to ask that question, to take that journey? What is it that says you have done well, that asks you to learn more, that brings you to stillness, that holds you up in hard times? It is relationship, the beating heart of our faith. It begins when we share this hour, our truths, this air, our hearts. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Christina Branum-Martin. It is so good to see you this morning. And for those of you who are at home, you might see on the camera that there are tables and chairs in the sanctuary. And basically what we're doing today is inviting people to go to kindergarten. Our service today is about spiritual practices. And one of the things that is important in my life as a spiritual practice is being an artist. And so I'm inviting you to join me today in that practice. As we get ready for today, I will light our chalice. And I do so in the spirit of exploration, an invitation to creativity, and knowing that in times of vulnerability, we turn to each other and we turn to this place. On your order of service are our words of affirmation. Would you join with me as we share them together? We gather together in the spirit of love, with justice as our guide. This is our chosen covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth with freedom, and to care for one another. In the spirit of joy, of looking towards something anew, we have an interesting and silly story today that I like a lot.
Hi, it's me again. For this morning's story, I wanted to highlight a different tradition. We celebrate New Year in January. The Jewish tradition, they celebrate it more in the fall with Yom Kippur. Other traditions celebrate it around this time of the year. And in about a week or so, those of the Persian and Kurdish tradition will be celebrating their New Year's, which is generally called Nowruz. So I have a story this morning about Nowruz. It's called 7 Special Somethings by Adib Khorram. Kian ran down the stairs laughing. It was the first day of spring, and Nowruz was here at last. While Mama and Baba cooked and cleaned all day, Kian was allowed to help. It was Kian's job to match socks and beat the rugs and even vacuum. The Sofra half scene was set in the living room. Maman, Kian said, why are there only 7 things on the half scene? It's tradition, Kian. Nowruz is the start of spring, Maman said, when everything is new again. The 7 S's on the table are symbols. We hope they will make us happy in the new year. Sabze, sprouts for rebirth. Sirka, vinegar for patience. Seer, garlic for health. Seka, coins for wealth. Sumac, spice for sunshine. Sib, apple for beauty. Sumanu, pudding for bravery. Mama went back to cooking, and Baba left for the airport to pick up Kanumjan and Agajan. Kian studied the table. Why only 7 symbols? If I found more S's, could I make our new year even happier? Sunny starts with S. What will Sunny bring us in the new year? Sunny's the cat. But all Sonny brought was chaos. Splash! Keon tried to put the table back together, but the vinegar had spilled and the coins had rolled under the couch. I have to find new S's for the table. Sonny's not the only thing that begins with S. Keon searched and searched. In his room, under his bed, he finally found something. Superhero starts with S. This will bring us strength in the new year. What else can I find? Sugar for sweetness. I wonder what Maman is making for dessert. Keon snuck into his parents' room. Surely they had some things that began with S. Maman's soap. It smells so good, like one of Maman's hugs. Baba's sneakers. These don't smell so good, but Baba needs them to run and play with me. In the guest room, he found a bowl of Aga John's favorite snack, Aga John's watermelon seeds. These will keep our bellies full in the new year. I wonder if we roasted enough. One of Kanum John's scarves was hanging over the rocking chair where she liked to sit and read to Keon. Kanum John's scarf, that starts with S. This will keep us warm in the new year. Keon put everything on the new half scene, but he only counted 6 S's. He was still arranging things when Baba came home with his grandparents. Kanum John said, "Look how much you've grown." And Aja John asked, "What are you making?" "A new half scene. Sonny and I broke the old one." Baba laughed. "It's a different kind of half scene, Keon. But look, it shows our whole family." "Well, it's not done yet. I still have to find a 7th S." But then Maman called them all to eat. "Nushi done." The table was full of Keon's favorites, fish and rice and Persian pickles and hot tea. Keon's fingers got sticky from all the baklava he ate. But he couldn't stop thinking about the 7th S. After dinner, Baba gathered them all together to take a picture with Keon's new half scene. "I wish I'd found a 7th S." "Don't worry, Keon," Aja John said. "You did a good job," Kanun John said. Maman hugged Keon. "It's a beautiful half scene." "Everybody smile." "Smile." Keon looked up at his happy family. "Smile starts with S. This will make us happiest of all in the new year."
Usually we have children who gather the cans and food that we brought, and so might I ask if the usher and me and Karen could help? And if you have something, let us know. Thank you so much for your generosity. not only of your time and energy, but of your dollars and also of food for the community. It is received with much gratitude. I didn't notice any joys and concern cards in the bowls, and so what I want to ask is for us to share a stone for anyone in our community who needs healing, who needs love and care and support. We put a stone in for that. Yes. I do want to share that Elizabeth Branstead is doing well and still getting care, and other people are healing from things, and we keep them all in our hearts. And the last stone we put are the things yet to be shared. Oh, Carol has something to share.
I wished Jerry Walker a happy birthday. My birthday was on Monday and his was on Tuesday. They have a new place in Sarasota and are very happy.
So I'm going to repeat that for the people at home who couldn't hear because they won't have the microphone. So Jerry Walker had a birthday, as did you, and they have moved to Sarasota and are doing well. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Elaine, would you share this reading with us?
Yes.
Good morning. Our first reading is entitled Wandering Teacher. Once upon a time, there was a teacher who was known far and wide as one who had mastered all of the great disciplines as a spiritual seeker. She wandered the countryside, and whenever people heard that she was near, they traveled to seek the wisdom and her guidance. Great teacher, one would say, I wish to get closer to God. By what path do you travel? She would ask, I study the scriptures, diligently applying myself day and night to unlocking their mysteries. Another question that might come is, then you should go put down your books and walk in the woods, thinking nothing but listening too deeply. Another would say, I do good to every person I meet. Doing all of that, I can serve the needs of others. Then for a time, the teacher said, consider yourself well met and strive to serve your own needs as well as you have for the others. Another would say, I do good to every person that I meet. Doing that with the next paragraph. One day the teacher noticed someone in the back of the crowd, someone not pushing his way forward so that she could get her attention. As most of the others did, she moved forward. She went to him. What is it that I can do for you, good sir? I do not know, he replied. I feel in the need of something, but I do not believe in God and have nothing you could call as a practice. When do you feel most alive, she asked. The man replied, when I am playing with my children. The man said that without hesitation. Then go and play with your children, said the teacher, and you will find what you seek.
This month, as we explore the theme of vulnerability, we are invited to consider what grounds us, what holds us together when times are hard. And for me, I am grounded in spiritual practice. I am not one for an hour-long meditation session every morning, nor do I do everything that I do on a daily basis. I'm one of those, maybe you might call a lazy spiritual person. But I do sometimes, when I really need it, take 5 minutes out to breathe. And if anything, that which is life itself, the thing that starts and ends our life is our breath. And when I do so, I can feel my heart beating. And for me, that is the most core spiritual practice that I have. Spiritual practice can be those things that help you, that allow you to have your mind wander when you're doing them. Where there is repetition of sound or movement or prayer of meditation that can allow you to be more connected to the things that you've been pushing aside. The easiest way to think about this is to do something without concentration. This spiritual practice benefits when you can do it repeatedly, but like I said, you don't have to be a special monk to be able to have spiritual practice in your life. For example, you might have an idea come to you in the shower, or when you're gardening, or when you walk on a particular path. Sometimes I notice that when I'm swimming, which is my form of exercise, my mind will go to things from my childhood, to something yesterday that happened, to a dream that I had the night before. My mind wanders. So even my exercise, I find, is a spiritual practice. And on the tables in front of you, there are mandalas just for coloring, just for fun. And there also is a black and white chalice. Would you hand me one? So if you could grab this chalice in front of you if you're at the table, and if you are not at the table, you can see the design, and those at home, you'll see it. I invite you to list in the flames, or around the flames, or on top of them if you've already colored. I could see Carol's already colored hers in. List some of the things that are spiritual practices for you. Some of them might be a dance party in the living room. I have a 10-year-old. That happens often in my house. It might be playing with your children, as in the reading. It might be exercise or playing basketball, meditating for 5 minutes. It might be chopping vegetables. It might be doing a craft. I noticed that somebody in here was knitting earlier. It might be the simple slowness and focus of making your bed on a daily basis to bring beauty and simplicity into your life, or maybe even walking your dog on a daily basis. So feel free to fill in that coloring page over the service, and then later on you'll have a chance to turn to your neighbor and just be able to share what you wrote. I invite the choir now to sing a beautiful song while you take a few minutes to color. It's called Sending You Light, and we send this out to those in the community that need our care right now.
Sending you love. the path with you. Go slow, dear one, don't hurry. I'll go just as you please. There is no cause to worry.
Our second reading is Listening to Our Song from the Reverend David S. Blanchard. Years ago, when I was traveling in East Africa, I heard a story of a people who believe that we are each created with our own song. Their tradition was, as a community, is to honor that song by singing it as a welcome when the child is born, as comfort when the child is ill, in celebration when the child marries, and in affirmation and love when death comes. Most of us were not welcomed into the world in this way. Few of us seem to know our song. It takes a while for many of us to figure out which is our song and which is the song that others would like us to sing. Some of us are slow learners. I heard my song not necessarily from doing extraordinary things in exotic places, but also from doing some pretty ordinary things in some routine places. For every phrase I heard climbing Kilimanjaro, I learned another in a chair in a therapist's office. For every measure I heard in the silence of a retreat, I heard another laughing with my girls. For every note I heard in the wind on the beach at Lamu, I gleaned more from spending time with a dying friend as her children sang her song back to her. What came to astound me was not that the song appeared, but that it was always there. I figured that the only way I could have known it for my own was if I had heard it before memory went to work making sense and order of the mystery of our beginning. Our songs sing back to us something of our essence, something of our truth, something of our uniqueness. When our songs are sung back to us, it is not about approval, but about recognizing our being and our belonging in the human family. It is good to know our songs by heart for those lonely times when the world is not singing them back to us. That's usually a good time to start humming to yourself that song that is most your own. They can be heard as songs of love or of longing, songs of encouragement or of comfort, songs of struggle or of security. But most of all, they are songs of life, giving testimony to what has been, giving praise for all we're given, giving hope for all we strive for, giving voice to the great mystery that carries each of us in and out of this world.
Another of my spiritual practices is to sing. Sometimes it is in the shower. Often it is in the car when I think no one is watching. And it's also singing with others. I really missed singing with others in choirs and choral guilds during the pandemic. And I want to thank the choir for what they offered us today. Thank you. I am so glad now to be able to join in with others. Singing for me is an opportunity for me to do something that feels exponential. It's something that I can't make on my own in the same way that I feel that happens when I sing with others. I don't often sit and formally pray or meditate like I shared earlier, but when I do, I find comfort in the words of the hymn that we sing often, The Spirit of Life. I consider it a prayer when I sing. The writer of the lyrics and music of this song, her name is Carolyn McDade, tells the story of that she purposely wrote this hymn. It came to her as just a song, and it later was put in our hymnal. But she wrote it as a personal prayer. She shared in an interview, and then when I went to a conference, when she shared with tears the experience of writing this. She shared in this interview that she went to a friend's house late at night. With tears, she said, "I feel like a piece of dried cardboard that has been laying in the attic for years. Just open the door and the wind will come in and I will wash away with the dust." That sounds awful. She said, "I was tired. I was not with my community. I was disconnected from that which brought me joy in my life." She shared that depression had taken over her life, and she didn't know how to find the strength to keep living. And she said her friend just sat there, sat with her for hours, sitting by her side as she cried and shared what she needed. And she said that she went over to the piano in the early morning hours, and what came out was a prayer. Her prayer was, "May I not drop out of this world." She said it was not written on a piece of paper, but she sat at the piano and sang the words, and it was a prayer. She said, "I knew more than anything that I wanted to continue in my faith and in my life. I wanted to keep living." And thus the prayer was written, a request for support, for rest, for renewal and perspective. The words of the hymn are "Spirit of Life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, and wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me." Perhaps, too, on some days, you simply pray for a way to continue with life itself, and a request for support and rest and renewal and perspective are what we need. I want to share with you about these beads. I'm going to take it off if I can. I had a friend make this for me. These beads were made to match the stanzas of this song, this hymn, this prayer. Each shell is another line in the song. So it's like a UU rosary, in a sense. When I need it, when I need prayer, when I find myself disconnected and needing to be grounded and needing to feel the earth beneath me and to know that I have a place here, I wear it, and I wear it today. Seated without having to stand or grab a hymnal, we're going to sing Spirit of Life now together. The words will be on the screen.
Spirit
This reading is entitled The Thin Places by John Crossley Morgan. I was taking a walk one morning down a path outside the Tintern Abbey in Wales when I discovered a rather small but sprawling tree, its branches beckoning travelers who might seek rest under its shelter. I crawled under the branches and sat quietly to watch the morning sun break across the ancient abbey sky. It felt safe and even sacred in that space, a place you might go to rest and reflect on the mystery of life. I sensed there a presence of others who had sat in that very spot before. Later, over lunch, I spoke with a local resident and told him how I had felt sitting under that tree. He looked at me and said quietly, it's called a thin place. I had never heard of that name before, so he patiently explained that to the Welsh, a thin place is a very special place, a sacred spot, where you feel a presence so deep and mysterious that you may have to stretch language to describe it. That sounds like what inspires poetry, I laughed. Maybe that's why the Welsh are such good poets, he said. In the months that followed, I became more and more aware of thin places in my life, whether it was my backyard garden or by a river. I came to understand that once you feel the power of thin places, you tend to experience them more often, and in places where you might have missed before. More surprisingly, I learned that when you carry a thin place in your mind and heart, you can go there whenever you feel the need. I did so not long ago, before I was wheeled into surgery. Scenes from the Welsh countryside before me, rather than the white gowns of nurses and doctors. Now I carry with me the idea of thin places, where the veil separating the reality from another is temporarily lifted, so faith and imagination can catch the fleeting glimpses.
I imagine you too have a thin place that you might remember, a place where the veil of the everyday lifts. I think these thin places are the things that get us through our days, and they ground us. They ground us, and this is a spiritual practice. On the table before you, and if you're sitting in the chairs, you can grab one on the way out, is a small bowl of glass beads. So I invite you to pick one that you can have to take home. These are all around us in stores and things, so it's not a sacred object, but we are going to imbue the meaning into that today, and I do invite you to grab one to put in your pocket. We are accustomed to the wonder of glass. It is ubiquitous. It's all around us. The glasses that we drink our water out of. Yet when you ponder what glass is sand. Sometimes with ash and a little limestone added, but it's sand that has been transformed by the heat of the sun and has become liquid. And then you can see from a solid material, you can see the light through it. For me, this glass is a reminder of process, that I am always in process, that I too can change. And I'm invited to those thin places where I can sit and be reminded that I can transform my life. So may this small piece of glass continue to remind you of the invitation to be grounded to your spiritual practices. This would be a great time for you to turn to your neighbor and to share what are your spiritual practices. What did you fill in on your chalice? And if you were not at the tables, just turn to someone close to you and tell them, what do you do in your life that grounds you? Thank you for going on this journey with me today and for letting me put tables and coloring things in the sanctuary. I have been enjoying the process, and I hope you have too. I close with these words by the poet Wendell Berry. It may be that when we no longer know what to do, we have come to our real work. And that when we no longer know which way to go, we have come to the real journey. And the mind that is not baffled is not employed, and the impeded stream is one that sings. So let us sing together as we close. Stand if you can, or if you'd like to just sit in your comfortable chair behind the table. The words are on the screen. "'Tis a gift to be simple," a simple Quaker tune that brings joy to me. a minute and we'll extinguish the chalice and close with words that sometimes when you're in a place where you think you have been buried, it is actually where you have been planted. May the sun's warmth help you live. May the water of the streams and the oceans help you grow. And may this community be a place you come back to over and over again.